Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to Defining Science Fiction. Today will be a much shorter video than yesterday's on speculative fiction. Today is a communication device called Ansible. It was created or coined by Ursula K. Le Guin, who lived from 1929 and recently died a few years ago, 2018. And she began using this word, which is sort of a contraction of answerable, so Ansible, instant communication over any distance and space. And she first used it in a short story called The Dowry of Angar in 1964. September 1964 is amazing, and which eventually began or was the prologue to Rocannon's World, the first Hainish series. Now, she used it throughout all the Hainish stories, and other authors have paid homage to her through this by keeping the name Ansible. Orson Scott Card used it in Ender's Game. Sorry, I'm just made some notes here to make sure I get everything correctly. Dan Simmons in Ilium. Werner Vinge used it. Neil Gaiman even used it when he scripted an episode of Doctor Who. And but she wasn't the first to do sort of instant communication in science fiction. There were similar devices like the ultra wave or hyperwave radio that Isaac Asimov used in the Foundation. Jack Williamson in a short story called With Folded Hands in July 1947, astounding story. He called it rotomagnetic waves. That's the mouthful. Frederick Pohl used something very similar again too in the Heechee, but it's specifically Heechee Rendezvous in 1984. He called it, or they called it, the Heechee called it zero speed radio. And even Neil Asher in his Human Polity had a nod towards Le Guin, not using answerable, but runcible, if that's the correct pronunciation of it. So yeah, so there and there's many other uses of Ansible and other kinds of instant communication, because the issue is that it has to be sort of almost faster than light. It needs to get if it's instant communication. So science fiction writers sort of, bend the rules of physics and create something the same as faster than light speed, but that's a different topic. But anyway, Ansible has sort of come into in the 60s, and it has remained, and by the great science fiction author Ursula K. Le Guin. Thank you. I'll see you next time.